Good morning, everyone. As you can see on the screen, the topic we're going to tackle is all about the subject-verb agreement. But before we start the discussion, let me present first the objectives of our lesson for today. At the end of the lesson, the student should be able to clarify things through defining and explaining, become familiar with the rules governing the subject-verb agreement, and apply these rules correctly both in written and oral exercises. So now, let's proceed to our discussion. First, what is a subject? The subject of a sentence is the person, place, or thing that is performing the action of a sentence. The subject represents what or whom the sentence is about. The simple subject usually contains a noun or pronoun and can include a modifying word, phrases, or clauses. For example, the dog barks. In a sentence, the subject is the dog. And what is a verb? Verb is words that show an action, occurrence, or state of being. Almost every sentence requires a verb. The verb is known as its infinitive. Given in the example, the dog barks, the verb in the sentence is barks. Then what is a subject-verb agreement? A subject-verb agreement means that the subject and the verb must be both plural or singular. A singular subject takes a singular verb, and a plural subject takes a plural verb.
And now, let's proceed to the rules of subject-verb agreement. One of the most important factors that you must master is the agreement of the verb and the subject in the sentence. Such agreement is governed by the following rules. Rule number 1. The number agreement. Subjects and verbs must agree in numbers. This is the cornerstone rule that forms the background of the concept. The only and the subject affect the verbs. Nothing else matters. For example, the dog growls when he is angry. The dogs growl when he is angry.
Rule number 2. Words between subject and verb explains that subordinate clauses and prepositional phrases that comes between the subject and the verb don't affect their agreement. For example, the dog who is biting on my jeans is usually very good. The subject in this sentence is the dog, followed by the subordinate clauses and prepositional phrases who is biting on my jeans, and the verb is. Another example is, the colors of the rainbow are beautiful. The subject in this sentence is the colors, followed by the subordinate clauses and prepositional phrases of the rainbow, and the verb are. The subordinate clauses and prepositional phrases in these sentences don't affect the subject-verb agreement. Rule number 3, there or here, explains that when sentences start with there or here, the subject will always be placed after the verb, and some care needs to be taken to identify each part correctly. For example, there is a problem with the balance sheet. The subject in this sentence is the balance sheet that comes after the verb is. Another example, here are the papers you requested. The subject in this sentence is the papers that comes after the verb are. These sentences starts with there and here, so the subject will always be placed after the verb.
Rule number 4. Subject after verbs and questions. Make sure you accurately identify the subject before deciding on the proper verb form to use. For example, Where are the pieces of this puzzle? Number 2, where is the key I left on the desk? Next, rule number 5, subjects joined by and. If two subjects are joined by and, they typically require a plural verb form. For example, the cow and the pig are jumping over the moon. Billy and Jake are going to the movies.
Rule number 6. Two subjects are separated by and. The verb is singular if the two subjects is separated by and. Refer to the person or thing as a whole. Example number 1. Red beans and rice is my mom's favorite dish. Example number 2. Spaghetti and meatballs is a great meal. Rule number 7. Each, every, and no. If the word each, every, and no comes before the subject, the verb is singular. Example number 1. No smoking or drinking is allowed. Example number 2. Every man and woman is required to check in.
Rule number 8. Multiple subjects connected with conjunction. If the subjects are both singular and are connected by the words or, nor, neither nor, either or, not only but also, the verb is singular. If the subjects are both plural and are connected by the words or, nor, neither nor, either or not only but also, the verb is plural. Example number 1. Either Jessica or Christian is to blame for the accident. Example number 2. Not only dogs but also cats are available at the animal shelter.
Rule number 9. If one subject is singular and other one is plural, and the words are connected with the words or, nor, neither or nor, or either or, not only or but also, use the verb form of the subject that is nearest the verb. Example, either the bear or the lion has escaped the zoo. So the correlative conjunction used in the sentence is either and nor. So, although the verb is plural, we use has because the part of the compound subject closest to the verb is lion, which is singular. Number 2. Neither the lion or the birds have escaped the zoo. So the correlative here is neither and or. So since the noun pair is closest to the verb is the birds, we use have instead of. Rule number 10. Units of measure. The singular verb form is usually reserved for units of measurement or time. Example, 4 quarts of oil was required to get the car running. 4 quarts is the unit of measure. Number 2. 10 minutes is enough to get there. 10 minutes is unit of measure.
Rule 11. Object of the preposition. The only time the object of the preposition decides plural or singular verb forms is when noun and pronoun subjects like some, half, none, more, or all are followed by the prepositional phrase. Then, the object of the preposition determines the form of the verb. For example, all of the chicken is gone. All of the chickens are gone.
Rule number 12. Infinite pronouns. Independent pronouns typically take verbs. The exception include the pronouns few, many, several, and both. These always take the plural form. Example, everybody wants to be loved. Few were left alive after the flood. Rule number 13. Gerunds. When gerunds are used as the subject of the sentence, they take the singular form of the verb. However, when they are linked by and, they take the plural form. Example, standing in the water was a bad idea. Swimming in the ocean and playing.
Rule number 14. Collective noun. A collective noun such as team or staff can either singular or plural depending upon the rest of the sentence. Typically, they take the singular form as the collective noun is treated as a cohesive single unit. For example, the herd is tapping, the flag is flying south. Then, rule number 15. Titles of books. Titles of books, movies, novels, and other similar works are treated as singular and take as singular verbs. For example, The Burbs is a movie starring Tom Hanks, and Gone with the Wind is my favorite movie of the time.
Singular subject takes singular verb. Plural subject takes plural verb. And the verb agrees only on its subject. Intervening words do not affect the number of the subject. Some, all, most, and any are singular when they are referred to a quantity. They are plural when they are referred to a number. A compound subject joined by that takes plural verb. When the compound subject refers to one unit, it takes singular verb.